things, Jesus went over the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias. Then a great multitude followed him, because they saw his signs which he performed on those who were diseased. And Jesus went up on the mountain, and there he sat with his disciples. Then Jesus lifted up his eyes and see a great multitude coming towards him. He said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread, that these may eat?" But this he said to test him, for he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread is not sufficient for them, that every one of them may have a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, said to him, "There's a lad here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. But what are they among so many?" Jesus said, "Make the people sit down." Now there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down in numbers about 5,000. So this is the patch of land with much grass. Yeah. And Jesus took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed them to the disciples, and the disciples to those sitting down, and likewise the fish, as much as they wanted. So when they are filled, he said to his disciples, "Gather up the fragments that remain, so that nothing is lost." Therefore they gathered them up and filled 12 baskets with fragments of the 5 barley loaves, which were left over by those who had eaten. Then those men, when they have seen the sign that Jesus did, said, "This is truly the prophet who is to come into the world." So this is the place where Jesus fed the 5,000.
Passage about John feeding the 5,000. Here, we believe Pastor Prince was the one who first mooted the idea, and now he says that most of the guides agree with him. He fed the 5,000 there on the grassy slopes, and there's a lot of grass, as the Bible says. Then, right after that, he actually sent the people away, and he came up here to pray. We see that in John 6. Okay, so John 6, 14. When the people saw that sign that he had done, they said, "This is indeed the prophet who is to come into the world." Perceiving then that they were about to come and take him by force to make him king, Jesus withdrew again to the mountain by himself. This is right after he fed them. You know, when you start feeding a lot of people, they will want more of it, and it is for that reason that they want him to be king, because he could feed them. At the time, Israel was under the rule of the Romans, and life wasn't that easy. But that's not what Jesus came in his first coming for. So he sent them away, and that's a miracle by itself, him being able to master the 20,000 people and send them away so that he could come up here to pray. So when evening came, his disciples went down to the sea, got into the boat, and started across the sea to Capernaum. It was now dark, and Jesus had not yet come to them. So Jesus is the one, if you read the other gospel, who sent them away. Forcefully, he said, "Okay, now go to the other side. Don't wait for me." Then he came up here to pray. Then in John 6, 18, it says, "The sea became rough because the strong wind was blowing. When they were rowed about 3 or 4 miles, they saw Jesus walking on the sea and coming near the boat, and they were frightened. But he said to them, 'It is I, do not be afraid.' Then they were glad to take him into the boat, and immediately the boat was at the land to which they were going." So Jesus was up here praying. If you read it from the other gospel, you will know that Jesus sent them there, and Jesus knew he's God, right? He knew that the sea would be rough. He knew that it would be tough going. But do you know what time Jesus went down to them? At the 4th watch, when they have already toiled for many hours and they got nowhere. That's where Jesus went to them. But this is not to say that, so many times when we face trials in our life, we always ask, "Hey God, where are you?" Or you start to think that, we are there because of our mistakes. We are there because of our decisions. But you know that when you read this story, Jesus is the one who sent them there. Did Jesus know there will be a storm? Yes. But did Jesus know that they will get to the other side? Yes too. So why did he send them into the storm? It's not because Jesus doesn't love us that he sends us into a trial. He sent us into a trial to make us see him walking on the water, because he wants us to walk on the water. He wants us to be able to rise above the circumstances, above the storms of life. But if we've never seen a storm, how do we then rise above that storm? How do we then learn how to trust him when the things are not going right? It is written somewhere else in John that Jesus says, in this life you will have trials and tribulation. But take heart, Jesus said, I have overcome the world. So when Jesus was praying up here, he was actually praying, I believe he was praying for them. Praying that their faith will not fail. Praying that they will continue to roll and continue to trust him and continue to call out to him. So when the timing is right, his timing is right. He go to them. He can see them, he can hear them. You just imagine this pitch dark here. But he can hear their cries and he goes to them. So no matter what trials you are facing, Jesus will come to you at his perfect time. And we're so blessed to be here again. This is our 3rd year here. It's always good, to come here to remember his love, that he was here, that he fed the people, that he loved the people, and he came for us. The other day, I was just having this thought that he created the Sea of Galilee the way he created it, the shape that he created it, because he knew he would be coming. Can you imagine that he imagined this cliff? He knew he would be sitting here. He knew that he would send his disciples to the other side. Exactly. Right? Isn't it amazing? He made everything so that he can show his grace. He can pour out his love. Everything is set for him, the Bible says. So, here we are at Mt Arbel, remembering our Lord Jesus. Feeling love all over again. This is awesome. How many people can say that they've come here 3 years in a row? Sit here to remember Jesus. We can. Not because we can, but he can. And he's always coming true for us. He will come true for you. Thank you.